Alright, peace and blessings. I love the sun. Without the sun, we really can't accomplish anything. Good day, everybody. I'm Lord Enki. I'm going to talk to my peoples. You know, if we was to name this one, we'll call this My People Fail for Lack of Knowledge of God. What is God? Well, let's take the simplest example, because God is in our body. You know, he says, I'm in the Father and the Father is in you. And so he also permeates throughout our body into nature. That's what we're going to discuss real quick. Nature itself and its influences and effects on the body. I've been here right now in Jamaica for a while. I am 100% Jamaican, just a traveler. While we're here, I want to show you some of my trees. This is very important. Like, this is wild cabbage. Not bad. This wild cabbage right here is very powerful. It's a very powerful, not just antioxidant, but the brassica is from the line of brassica. This brassica line is good for killing cancer. So, I use it to kill cancer. Well, there's a trick to this though. You can't just kill cancer by boiling this or eating it. It doesn't work. So that's what we're going to discuss. I just wanted to bring that to you. Here's another friend of mine I love. This one right here. I pick them off, as you can see, when the season comes in and they start to dry out. I get them before the bugs do. So these is all leaves from the king of the forest. We're looking at king of the forest right now. And that too, you know, we boil it and we drink it, but you don't get the full benefit that way. And that's what I'm here to explain to you. King of the forest is great for infections. It's also good for killing off any type of fungus or bacteria. It's antimicrobial. It's also good for any type of sexually transmitted disease. It kills it all. Look, down here, my favorite. This is stevia right here. Say hi to stevia. Stevia is a natural sugar. It's very powerful in helping you. And it's better than using cane, honey, anything. You got a balance between fructose and sucrose. So you have to know the difference between, you know, sucrose and fructose. One, fructose itself, as you can see, it's in a lot of sodas, is high fructose corn syrup. And it's kind of poisonous to the body without it being balanced with sucrose. So you have to be careful, such as your agave. Agave is a very powerful plant. A lot of people grow it out here in Jamaica, but it by itself is only fructose. And if it's fructose, it's poisonous if you take it over long term. I want to show you another one, my favorite right here, turmeric. I'm growing the turmeric right here. It speaks for itself. We are going to discuss turmeric. Everybody know. I'm just running through because these is what heals us. When I say we lack the knowledge of God, this is the knowledge right here. Another little favorite of mine. I don't know if you can see him. He's here, the devil's horsewhip. It's very a powerful antibacterial fungus. A lot of people get fungus in their body. This fungus start to come out in the form of psoriasis. You got eczema, asthma, sinuses. That's all fungus in the body. It's not what we think, like something in the head, mucus, cold, in the chest. No, not even in the throat, larynx area. This is all have to do with the stomach acid in your belly. If you don't make enough stomach acid, or what we call HCI, hydrochloric acid, what is going to happen to you? The food is going to spoil within 4 hours of you eating it. When this occurs now, this is when the problems start. The food start to ferment. What happens when it ferment? You get the big belly going, the big inflammation thing going. You said, I'm big bone. There's no such thing. That's just the beginning of what's going to be called homocysteine, or free radical break-ins of your cells, which is going to lead to mutations, which is going to lead to, from the first stage of it is called arthritis. So you get them pains in the back pain. You squat down, you're like, oh. You go to get up, you're like, oh. That's the start of all your problems. So God made these plants designed to get rid of what we call homocysteine, atherosclerosis, or what we call just plaquing of the arteries from too much free radicals. That's what it starts off with. This is another one of my favorites right here. This is a very powerful antioxidant. It's called lantana. I know all of us have it out here, but we don't know how to use it. So I'm teaching y'all the basics of herbalism right now. But you can't be a herbalist if you don't know the physiology of the body. We usually follow what our ancestors said. It's good for pain, it's good for cramp, it's good for sugar. We don't know nothing. Well, those days is gone now. It's time for us to learn the science and learn it in depth in reference to the body and what these herbs do for the body. So that's what I'm going to be teaching. Let's look at another one real quick. This one here, a lot of people have this. You see them right here? Let me see if you can see them. This is called Siddha Akuta. This is one of the most powerfulest penicillin you could get. It's a very powerful penicillin. And a lot of us go to the doctor and get their penicillin, which don't work. Why? Because it's toxic to your body. When you're taking anything toxic, your body's going to fight against it. I'm not saying it's not going to get rid of the bacteria, the fungus, or whatever is wrong with you. That's what penicillin do. But what will happen, though, the bacteria that it got rid of will eventually mutate and come back stronger, harder. You get this in regular cases of like chemo. When people go get chemo, they think they're cured from cancer. Later on, about 5 years down the line, the cancer come back more aggressive. And that's my job, to help to keep the cancer off of them and to tell them, what's the game plan? All right, you got the chemo, you got the radiation. Okay, the cancer is in remission for a quick minute. But how are you going to keep it in remission? It's up to you. Why? Your diet. You know, cancer don't like additives, preservatives, proteins, carbohydrates, alkaloids, or what we call sugars. So these things has a very profound effect on it. It feeds on that stuff. So if you taking things that has additives in it, preservatives, such as seasonings, your sodas, anything come out of a box, you could think you're helping yourself, but you're not. You're hurting yourself. Really, a lot of us don't realize, because we're indigenous. Our genetics is still kind of pure and ancient and being preserved in the way we live without all the modern features. So with that, we're sensitive. HSP, we'll call it highly sensitive people. So it's a science, Google that. So with that now, you just have to be careful what you eat, because things in cans, bottles, bags, packages, it builds up some type of toxicity. Sometimes they put leveling agents in it, things to actually keep it at a way that it stays fresh, but it's chemicals, all toxic stuff. And when you ingest that, being that your body is used to a natural way, which is the God way, it has a toxic effect on you. The toxic effect, what it could come from? The liver and the kidney. You have what's called phase 1 and phase 2 detox, and sometimes when you eat stuff such as, like, say, flour, when you eat flour already been milled. When you mill a grain, that's why you have whole grain that costs more money than the trashy powdery stuff that's cheap. That's why flour is so cheap. But if you go get a whole grain, let's take oats. You probably have to get the Quaker oats with the big thick grain. That's healthy. That's a whole grain. That's a whole complete protein. It's a whole complete fiber. But say you get the trashy cheap one that's cut up into little powder. It's depleted of its nutrients, because the most important vitamin to the body is the B vitamins, B complex, which consists of 8 other vitamins such as thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, pyridoxine, pantothenic acid. These is very, very important to your body. They're the ones that actually create hydrochloric acid in the belly. A deficiency of it is going to make you not have enough to digest your food. When this occurs, that's when all your problems start. Without proper digestion within a 4-hour period, the food tends to ferment. It starts to spoil. That's the bloating effect that's going to start coming in. And it affects not just your belly, but it affects your shoulders, your neck, your arms. You look big. That's called inflammation. Now, because of this inflammation now, you have a problem. If you don't get the inflammation down, it's going to start making what's called plaque in the bones. So the bones is the joint part of the bone, in between here, the elbows, the knees, the neck, the shoulders. This is where the flour is going to go. Why? Because it's depleted of its vitamin content, and so it uses your vitamins. Say you had a little bit of the B complex on you, and you go eat some flour, you cook it, we boil it for a longer time, because flour is enhanced. It's always enhanced. Anything you buy in a box, can, package, they know the consistency of the vitamin is not going to last more than probably a few days. So they enhance it with vitamins. So you're going to get enriched flour. Enriched meaning that they put the B complex in it so that when you eat it, you won't be depleted of your B complex, and it'll give you some type of nutrition. So say you go eat it now, which now, we buy cheap flour and it's being stored, then you cook it, and B vitamins, if you don't know, is light sensitive and heat sensitive. When this occurs now, you have to be careful how hot it gets, and you have to be careful how much light is on the food. So now that you know that, most of the time when we eat these things, they actually make us feel weak, tired. You run out of energy. You eat and you feel lazy. You don't want to get up. That's what it does to you when it depletes you of your own energy, your own nutrients. Excuse me. So by you understanding that, milled, grained up things such as cornmeal, flour, is going to hurt you more than help you. Yes, it's cheap. And yes, that's all we can afford. And what are we going to do after that if I stop eating it? I won't be able to feed my family and my kids. But you're killing them with bad health. I give you an example. A lot of people eat different. Our ancestors ate different. We was educated to think these things is food, but they're not. Only foods that's out here, and still is. Let me, before I tell you the foods, do you remember, let's use the Bible. Jacob stored grains. When he worked for the Pharaoh, he stored grains and put grains up, flowers up. But this wasn't regular flour. What kind of flour was it? Well, then you have things like this. Cassava. If you go now, the leaf of the cassava, not the root. If you go and you look up cassava, put in the health benefits of cassava leaf, or cassava leaf use in Google, you're going to see it's more nutritious and more balanced as a protein, vitamin, everything, than spinach, than kale, than cabbage. You see, those things is what we used to have stored in those canisters back in the days. And we'll take that into a paste, make it into a bread. You always hear the leveled bread. They always making bread. But they didn't use flour to make these breads. They used something like what I just showed you, the cassava leaf. There's many leaves here that is very high in nutrient that'll make any vegetable look foolish. But we're programmed to eat vegetable. We programmed to feed our mind. We never knew what the body take. When you have that problem going on, that's the lack of knowledge of God. Because God says, your body is my temple. So defiling the temple is defiling yourself. That's why he says it's not what goes in the mouth, it's what comes out of it. You need to pay attention to that. Re-educate yourself on what to eat. Don't follow culture because your ancestors ate it, because you're Jamaican or you're Chinese or you're American. You must know your body. So let's summarize this quick. I don't want to take up too much of your time. The herbs, it assimilates better in your body as far as on a chemical level. So you will want to take those instead of actually taking toxic medicine. And I'm not saying if you're sick not to go to the doctor and take the help. What you're going to do is balance it out. You take the toxic medicine from there, but then you're going to have to put some good in your body to make the difference, to fill out what you're going to be lacking. Because anything toxic has a side effect. Plants don't have a side effect. So it's going to counter the side effect. What we call that complementary medicine, meaning you're taking some pressure pills, which is called a statin or beta blocker. It blocks you from making actually vitamins or the coenzymes for vitamins. And so you see men have erectile dysfunction problem, women get swollen legs and feet, circulation problem because of these pressure pills, sugar pills. You have to watch. They are what's called statins, beta blocker. The beta that they're blocking is your coenzyme. For a vitamin to work, it needs a covitamin to make a hormone. I just wanted you to get that in your mind and let you meditate on that for a minute. All right? Lord Enki, love the sun. One love.